Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. From Allah we come, and to Allah we will return. So today is Thursday, September 26th, 2024, and I was trying to figure out, should I make a video pertaining to this? Should I don't know. I was just confused about it all. As you all know, our brother Marcellus Khalifa Williams was murdered by the state of Missouri a couple of days ago. And like so many of you, I was heartbroken just knowing. I thought I was good. Just knowing that their time was coming. I couldn't even imagine what must have been going through his mind, through his spirit. And I know, I watched some of his janazah, some of his funeral on YouTube today. And I think it was the imam there, or his spiritual advisor from the masjid, said that, you know, the brother told him that he was really at peace. And I heard an interview where his son said the same thing. And alhamdulillah, I've kind of been in that space before. Not in a space where I was going to be murdered for something I didn't do, but I have been in a situation before where I legit thought I was going to like die, and I was so at peace with it. And so I guess I can understand it some in that way, but y'all, just knowing the obvious just wrongness of it all. But then, you know, they try to sell us this idea that lethal injection is humane and stuff. There's no way. First of all, I've seen people, I've worked with people whose organs are shutting down. It's painful. So anyway, just all that stuff was just like bothering me so. And, you know, I signed the petitions and stuff like that, but there wasn't really much more I could do, I guess. You know, you make your dua and stuff like that, but your prayer. But now that it's happened, and you know, the brother ain't here no more. He's somewhere living happy and carefree, I would suppose. But, you know, the Quran tells us that martyrs and that people who have been murdered, like, they don't really die. They transition. So I get all that. And certainly I know from a very personal place, because my son is one of the millions of humans, but certainly of black men. Although we are Afro-Indigenous, we are black people. So I know about this whole, you know, people like to use the wording modern day lynching. I know all too well about that. I know all too well about law enforcement and local governments and such disregarding black bodies and covering up things and using their laws in order to justify the evil that they do. And I've seen so many like memes and videos and stuff like that since this brother was murdered. But my thing is, What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because so often, and we've all seen this, so often there's an uproar, an immediate uproar. And then, in some hashtags and stuff like that. But then within a few days or so, it's done. And we move on to the next thing until it happens again. And then there's an uproar. And then there's hashtags for a few days. And there's some videos. And then we move on. We forget about it. And then there's the next one. And so on and so forth. And those are only the ones that get caught, right? So my thing is, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to stop it? That's the thing. And I for sure don't have the answers. But I'm willing and ready, been ready, my life, to roll up the sleeves and let's get it popping. In a big way, I'm trying to get myself together before I say this. Because it really is such a truth for me. But with me losing my son, I found myself. And I've always been a revolutionary. This is why I was able to raise him and the others to be revolutionaries. And to be able to go out there and really get things done. Not just talking about it. Not just marching with banners. Not just, hashtags and memes and stuff like that. But actually get real, live accomplishments. Make things happen for generations to come. But also for my own personal life, the first part of my mission and my goal was to mold those people, make more warriors, and to raise my family and to teach my family. As I've said many times before, I put my life on hold so that I could homeschool my children. Not really on hold, because I still was able to go to school and become a nurse and do all the things that I was able to do, by house. So we would all have a space to live in. Being hold on, Shoni, and growing up the way I did in one household with multi-generations, that was, for me, that was part of the mission, part of the goal for my descendants, for my children, for my grandchildren and such. And alhamdulillah, these things have come to pass. And so I do have my children and grandchildren and such in my home. We like to joke that we don't live in a long house right now. We live in a tall house. But nonetheless, I knew, how they say, I understood the assignment. I had to sacrifice some things in order to meet the next generation, to prepare them to do what they had to do. And so now, and in a lot of ways, my whole family had come to depend on my son, Two Clouds. And that's him holding a Mohawk flag and holding no Shawnee flag. But I had really come to depend on him in a lot of ways. That was my partner. That was the leader of my family and such. And so in a lot of ways, we allowed him to lead while we got other things done. And so when he was murdered, and I was like, that week, I was like, oh, I already know what to do. So I started the organization Beyond Clouds. And then like a couple of months later, I started Women in Medicine Health Initiative in order to continue his work, but it's really our work. And in doing that, I was able to, because everybody grown now, I can get back to me. And in getting back to me is me getting back to the people, getting back to revolution, getting back to work. And so I've been doing that. I've been moving more towards political fronts. Alhamdulillah. I'm learning. I'm learning. And so, joining with other groups and us working together. And so my intention is still, as it has always been, to, at the risk of just sounding cliche, but to leave parts of this world far better than it was when I got here. As somebody who was born into radical realities, being born into the Nation of Islam, coming up through the Ansarullah community, always just being in the midst of just black radicalism, from my teachers in public schools to my neighbors to, you know, just everything around me. Again, being from Newark, New Jersey, we are a protest, revolutionary minded town, especially back in the day. And so when I say that from the loss of my son, I have found myself, it's very easy as a woman to get caught up in everybody else, raising babies, pleasing husbands, all that sort of thing. And now at 52, I am focused, keenly focused. And so when I ask the question, what do we do about it? I'm not coming from some sort of place like a rhetorical questioning, you know. I'm legit. What we going to do about it? I'm making moves on my end, you know, specifically for within indigenous communities, because I know that as African people, as Afro-Indigenous people, we have something special that it seems to me other indigenous people don't have. It's different. I'm not saying they're not, you know, fighters and revolutionary and that they don't get things going. They do. I question about over here on the East Coast, though, I'm gonna be honest. But other places really got things happening and making you know, waves, it seems to me. But nonetheless, as Afro-Indigenous people, I believe that we have something very special to bring to our cousins in order to help. And so those places are, you know, more of my focus these days. But that's not to say I'm here for whatever the work needs to be done. I'm here. It doesn't matter to me. I know people don't like to always hear this sort of thing, but it don't really matter to me what race, what ethnicity. I don't shun people because, first of all, I'm too daggone mixed to be trying to shun somebody because somebody somewhere gonna be my people. But so far as this prison industrial complex, how many more are going to fight to prove that they are innocent? And even though they are proven that they are innocent, they're murdered anyway. Getting back to Brother Khalifa, I can imagine what his loved ones are going through. Alhamdulillah, they had time to speak with him and such, and be with him. And I know his son, big ups to his son. He said he was going to be there with his father when they murdered him. I'm just so distraught about it all. How we can still be here, smiling, joking, laughing, loving, it has to be from Creator. Where else could it come from? Unless we're gluttons for punishment, I do not think that we are. Sometimes I wonder, like, how much more? Yeah, Allah Ta'ala, how much more? I don't know. There's no wonder so many people are losing their minds these days. I don't know, I'm just talking, y'all. This is rough. It's crazy because when you don't even know a person, but it just hits you, you know. Anyway, and the beat goes on. But really, we gotta do something.